Hey everyone, this is Battery Blade and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Lectron V-Box 48 amp Wi-Fi smart enabled charger. This charger has a lot of features to unpack, but we're going to check out the app, installation process, and everything you need to know about this charger to see if it holds up to the Tesla wall connectors and some other charging stations I've been using. Inside the box, we have a large foam piece with the charger and case. You open this up, you got the Lectron V-Box home unit. That's 48 amps. Let's see. That is, it isn't metal, but it is a very nice thick matte plastic with the metal spray. Sort of looks like it, so it's a very good looking unit. From the box, I thought it was going to be a slightly larger unit, but I like that it's fairly small off the bat. It is slightly wider than the Tesla wall connectors, but it may be a little less tall or short. Not quite sure, but it's a pretty comparable size. And then I also noticed immediately, I believe this is a physical shut-off switch, which are always good to have. Like Tesla wall connectors definitely don't have that physical switch right there to shut the whole unit down in case of some power failure or something. Pre-installed already this NEMA 1450 plug, so you can just plug that right in right away if you got that outlet installed. So you can just have electricians install an outlet for you before even ordering a unit, and just only have to worry about attaching this to the wall. Inside this foam, we have the actual plug itself, which I'm already impressed with. Tell you why in just a second. I'm already impressed with this charger handle and everything. It's because of how protected this latch is, and this isn't plastic painted like metal. This is a real metal latch right here, which I almost never see on any charging handles. They're mostly all plastic, which means if you drop the handle, it will snap off and break, and then your whole charger is ruined. So I like that this is metal and it's protected right there. This button's nice and large, so it's very explanatory, self-explanatory and easy. So definitely durability points, it gets a real solid on that. I will say cable thickness is a little on the thicker side. I'm not sure how well that's going to handle the Michigan winters here. But off the bat, really nice quality by Lectron, which using some of their adapters, definitely it makes sense. They're very quality. Off the bat, there's no holster inside the unit built in like the Tesla wall connectors. You got an external little hook to plug it into to protect the connector and hang it up on the wall. I also saw on the packaging that it comes with this J hook right here to wind up the cord. So definitely comes with a lot of materials to get yourself a good cable management system. But I do tend to prefer some built-in cable management. With it does have this slight lip here, so you can wind it around the unit itself, but there's no actual holster plug to plug the connector into the unit if that's what you sort of like doing and want it to look real tidy and if you're confined on space. But still, the unit itself is a fairly small size. I was worried that this unit was going to be way too big, because that's sort of how the pictures online made it seem like. But compared to just my hand, it's not actually that big of a unit. It also comes with this plate right here. So I believe what we got to do is just screw this plate into the wall, and then you can just slide the unit in like that and it will stay on the wall. So I do like that. It appears to be fairly simple. We also have all our instruction manual right here. So I believe it should be pretty easy if you want to turn this into the hardwired unit. Take out the NEMA 1450 pigtail and just rewire it. Yep, hardwire installation. So yeah, that's right there if you want to hardwire it, so that way you can get slightly faster speeds. but from my experience, 40 amps is more than enough to charge your EV overnight. Even our F-150 Lightning can charge overnight with 48 amps pretty easily, because in real world scenarios, you're not draining your EV to 0 and then charging it to 100%. You're only really going about halfway or so. And then more user manuals and stuff like that. And then the Lectron, it has a 3-year warranty on their charging station. So the build quality plus 3-year warranty really gives it a lot of points in that aspect, that you don't have to worry about this thing breaking with metal latches and a 3-year warranty. Pretty impressive. All right, I'm now outside, and we have the Lectron V-Box 48 amp charger mounted on our testing pedestal. And this is not the charging holster that this comes with. It comes with this J hook right here and this plastic hook right here on the wall. So this equipment, it's about average. It hooks in there, does its job, but it's nothing real special. And something we noticed right away is the cable length isn't standard 18 feet or 24 feet. Like this Tesla wall connector is 24 feet. This one's 18 feet. This one is only a 16-foot cable. So I'll say that's definitely a slight negative. You can sort of see the thickness and the cable difference. The Tesla's cable is definitely a lot thinner than the Lectron. So during the winter time, it's definitely maybe much harder to manage and coil and stuff. But that thicker cable does mean there's probably more insulation and maybe safer in the long run in case cable splints and stuff. And it's just overall it's going to be a little harder to work with, but even though the pliability still feels pretty good. But let's get this charger tested, and I'm also going to download the app and see how the app handles and the smart charger functionality. But yeah, also, like I said before, with this metal latch, I am really impressed with it. Like, I don't know why more chargers don't have metal latches. Like you see this one right here, plastic. Like even their own Lectron adapter previously, plastic latch. So I am happy they've switched to a metal one. But yeah, and this unit in size is definitely, I noticed, smaller than the Tesla wall connectors in terms of like height or whatever. But it is slightly wider, but just only a little bit, and it still has a little lip right here, so you can it still has a little lip on the charger so you can wind the cable around it, but it isn't a dramatic lip like on the Tesla wall connectors. So that's something to keep in mind, that you may definitely want to use this J hook that it comes with. All right, we have it all set up, plugged in, and prior to setting up the app or anything, it will just glow blue and then it will flash yellow intermediately. So I believe that means that it's not Wi-Fi connected, and it should still work perfectly fine with your EV even without connecting it to the app first. So in case you're short on time and just need to plug in and not worry about setting up the app or anything, or you're not an app person, still charges just fine. Plug it in and the EV clicks, turns on, did a little beep, and then you can see it shows the charging animation, which is sort of cool. So you can charge your EV without using the app. All right, we now have the app downloaded. Let's try and hook it up to the app. Click My Chargers, and let's see if we can add the charger. You're advised to enable Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth is on. All right, so at first, when we first try to search for the charger, it wouldn't show up even though we had Bluetooth on. Problem is, you need to make sure you click on the pop-up and allow the Lectron app to access your Bluetooth devices. So now that it has access, you can see we can just click Add the charger, and then it says Configure Wi-Fi. You can see the Lectron is being added to the Wi-Fi. Now you can see we successfully added it. We just had the password wrong the first time. So now let's click done. And overall, so far, I'm liking the setup process that we didn't need the charging manual to actually do this. We just needed our Bluetooth device and app, and it was able to find the charger without the manual, which is nice. Unlike the Tesla wall connectors, if you lose your manual, you gotta contact their support and go through all sorts of hoops and bounds to link it to your app if you don't have the manual. And then you can see we're getting a new software update on it. All right, so you can see we have the schedule. You can add a schedule and program in the lowest cost electricity times to only charge during those non-peak hours, which is good to save you money, so definitely a plus. And you can do even a weekly cycle, so pretty cool there. You also have the charging record area of the app, so saving that schedule is pretty easy. Now you have the record, so you can track how much power you use with your EV, your usage, and then you can even break it down by day, month, and year, which is kind of cool. So you can see exactly how much electricity it's costing you throughout the year. And then there's also settings. So right now we're on 40 amps because that's the plugged in. Oh yeah, there's also charge by kilowatt, so you can cap out how many kilowatts you can use during your charging session. Manual start at a push of a button, and then plug and charge, which is probably the best setting. And then also we have charging current, which you can adjust this to do a lower current. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like you can do custom currents. You have a few options. So 32 amps would be if you have this charger on a 40 amp circuit breaker. So 32 is 80%. That's sort of the rule in North America. You want to stay within 80% of the circuit breaker's capacity. And then also 16 amps. And then 40 is what we have because we have a 50 amp breaker, which all NEMA 1450 plug-in units, the maximum is 40 amps. And then as you can see, I like that it says requires hardware connection for 48 amps, because that would be for if you hardwire it and have a 60 amp breaker. But the NEMA 1450 outlet is only a 50 amp breaker. All right, and then you can also see the internal temperature of the unit, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and the hardware version and stuff. So that's kind of cool that you get a live feed of the internal temperature. So I guess you can track that during a hot day, see how hot it gets inside. There you go. Let's see what happens to the app when we plug in our car. Boom, we're plugged in. Start charging immediately. And do we see it in our app? Yes, we do. We can see our voltage is 243. Current was at 23. Now it's 28. It's building up 32, and then it will cap out at 40 amps, hopefully. Oh wait, it won't cap out at 40 amps because my car only has a 32 amp onboard charger. So that's the maximum amount of current my car can take, is only 7.6 kilowatts apparently. But as you can see, it also is tracking the total amount of kilowatt hours that is being put into your car. We're at 0.05 kilowatt hours. If you're ever laying in bed at night wondering, did I plug in? You can always just pull out your app and check if you're charging. Now I want to talk about is with our charging setup, we usually have two Tesla wall connectors plugged into the same NEMA 1450 outlet on a power sharing configuration. And that's one feature this unfortunately lacks, is any sort of power sharing capabilities with other units. So if you did want to power share it on a NEMA 1450 outlet, you would have to have the maximum charge rate at 20 amps, but there's no custom charge rate, so you'd have to put it down to 16 and just have two of these sharing the same outlet at 16 amps, which isn't quite as good as the Tesla's wall connectors, which can communicate with each other and raise up to 40 amps when only one's plugged in, and then go down to 20 when two are charging at once. So definitely would be a cool feature for them to add over the air, is some sort of multi-EV or multi-charger power configuration. Right. So, all right, so now I'm going to talk about everything I sort of dislike and some of the stuff I like about this charger. Overall, I do really like this charger. I really surprised me in a positive way. I would say the biggest negative is the cable length is only 16 feet on this unit. Hopefully there's some other options if you're shopping for it. You can get it in a higher length cable, but I'm unsure of that. So right now with this unit in particular, the biggest negative is 16 feet. Some other negatives are I'm not a huge fan of how thick the cable is. Some people would say it's really heavy duty. Me personally, I'd rather have a thinner, more pliable cable than such a thick one, especially if it's mounted outside and it gets really cold. It might make it harder to bend around and stuff. Stuff I think it does really well is obviously in the quality is that it has this metal latch. It's very protective. I love the holster gun. It's really easy to use. It's got a cap. Everything's really good about that holster. 10 out of 10. And yeah, the cable is heavy duty. I don't think the cable is going to break anytime soon. The unit itself also feels very well built. It's IP66 waterproof, so like that, definitely can mount it outside. And it's overall a much smaller unit than I thought. I expected it to be this big V-Box Pro unit, but no, it's a pretty compact unit actually, and that really impressed me. And I do like that it comes with enough charging equipment that you can mount a holster to wind the cable around that this comes with, and the same thing, it also comes with a plug to plug this cable in. I do wish that it had it built in so I could do it like that, but it's all good. It also has this physical button right here, so you can easily turn the unit off and on like that in case of some major power malfunction or safety issue. That physical kill switch is there, which is always nice. I also like that you can easily take out this NEMA pigtail and turn it into a hardwired configuration. But I like that it comes with a plug, so you can just plug it in right away, which is more than enough power for most people in my opinion, and probably one of the better options. I still really wish it had power sharing capabilities. Oh yeah, and some of the stuff I did really like about it was this charging app for the Lectron charger. It had all the features I wanted, like scheduled charging, charging records, live feedback. You can turn it off and on from the app, and also like do a bunch of different modes where you can have it swipe to charge only, or like I have it right now of the plug and charge. And of course, and since it's Wi-Fi enabled, I'm sure they'll update the app over time and hopefully add some features. If you are interested in this unit for yourself, I will have a link in my description. I might have a discount code, not sure about that. Try to save you some money. But this has been Battery Blade. I really appreciate you watching this video. I really hope you can like and subscribe. It'd mean the world to me. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on next time. Goodbye.